Hey there, it's therapy and relaxation. Today, we're talking about balancing individual and couple expectation. Let's go! Balancing individual and couple expectations in a relationship is a challenge that nearly every couple will face at some point. Relationships are, by their very nature, a delicate dance between two unique individuals, each bringing their own hopes, dreams, fears, and habits to the partnership. When two lives intertwine, the question inevitably arises: how do we honor our personal needs and aspirations while also nurturing the shared goals and values that bind us together? The answer is neither simple nor static. It is a continual process of negotiation, self-discovery, empathy, and growth. At the heart of this issue lies the fundamental tension between autonomy and togetherness. On one hand, we crave the freedom to express ourselves, pursue our interests, and maintain our individuality. On the other, we long for connection, intimacy, and a sense of belonging that comes from building a life with someone else. When these needs are in harmony, a relationship can be a source of immense joy and fulfillment. But when they clash, it can lead to frustration, resentment, and even the unraveling of the bond that once felt so strong. Consider the early days of a relationship, when everything feels new and exciting. In these moments, the desire to merge with the other person can be overwhelming. We may find ourselves eager to compromise, to set aside our own preferences in favor of shared experiences. But as time goes on, our individual identities begin to reassert themselves. We remember the hobbies we once loved, the friendships we want to maintain, the career goals we hope to achieve. Suddenly, the balance shifts, and we are faced with the task of integrating these personal aspirations with the commitments we've made to our partner. This balancing act is further complicated by the expectations we bring into the relationship, both our own and those of our partner. Expectations are shaped by our upbringing, past experiences, cultural background, and even the stories we tell ourselves about what a relationship should be. Some of us may have grown up in families where independence was prized above all else, while others may have witnessed partnerships where togetherness was the highest value. These early lessons inform the way we approach our own relationships, often in ways we are not fully conscious of. When individual and couple expectations are misaligned, conflict is almost inevitable. One partner may feel stifled, yearning for more space and autonomy, while the other feels neglected or insecure, craving greater closeness and reassurance. The challenge, then, is to create a relationship that honors both the I and the we, one in which each partner feels free to be themselves while also feeling deeply connected and supported. Open, honest communication is the cornerstone of this process. It starts with self-awareness, taking the time to reflect on your own needs, desires, and boundaries. What are the things that are truly important to you? Are there aspects of your life that you are unwilling to compromise on? What are your hopes for the relationship, and how do they align with your partner's vision? These are not always easy questions to answer, but they are essential for building a foundation of mutual understanding. Once you have a clearer sense of your own expectations, the next step is to share them with your partner. This requires vulnerability, a willingness to be honest about your fears and insecurities, as well as your dreams and ambitions. It also requires empathy, the ability to listen deeply to your partner's perspective, even when it differs from your own. Too often, couples fall into the trap of assuming that their partner should know what they want, or that their needs are somehow more valid or important. In reality, both partners' needs matter, and the goal is to find creative solutions that honor both sets of expectations. This process is not always smooth. There will be moments of tension, misunderstanding, and disappointment. But these moments are also opportunities for growth. When handled with care and respect, conflict can deepen intimacy and strengthen the bond between partners. It is through these conversations, sometimes difficult, sometimes uncomfortable, that couples learn to negotiate, to compromise, and to support each other's growth. One of the most powerful tools for balancing individual and couple expectations is the practice of setting boundaries. Boundaries are not about building walls or shutting each other out. Rather, they are about creating a framework in which both partners can feel safe, respected, and free to be themselves. This might mean setting aside regular time for personal pursuits, maintaining friendships outside the relationship, or agreeing on how much time to spend together versus apart. Boundaries can also involve emotional needs, such as how much reassurance or independence each partner requires, and practical considerations, like how household responsibilities are divided or how finances are managed. It is important to remember that boundaries are not fixed. They can and should evolve over time as the relationship grows and changes. What works for one couple may not work for another, and what feels right today may need to be revisited in the future. The key is to approach these conversations with curiosity and a willingness to adapt, rather than rigidly clinging to a particular set of expectations. Another important aspect of balancing individual and couple expectations is the cultivation of mutual support. In a healthy relationship, each partner feels encouraged to pursue their own goals and interests, even when those pursuits take them in different directions. This requires trust, the belief that your partner's growth does not threaten the relationship, but rather enriches it. It also requires generosity, the willingness to celebrate each other's successes, to offer encouragement in times of struggle, and to make sacrifices when necessary for the good of the partnership. At the same time, it is essential to nurture the shared aspects of the relationship, the rituals, traditions, and goals that bring you together as a couple. This might mean setting aside regular time for date nights, taking vacations together, or working toward a common dream, such as buying a home or starting a family. By investing in these shared experiences, couples can strengthen their bond and create a sense of unity that supports both individual and collective growth. Of course, there will be times when individual and couple expectations seem irreconcilable. Perhaps one partner wants to move to a new city for a job opportunity, while the other feels deeply rooted in their current community. Or maybe one person dreams of starting a family, while the other is unsure or unwilling. In these situations, there are no easy answers. The decision to compromise, to find a middle ground, or to go separate ways is deeply personal and depends on the values and priorities of each partner. What matters most is that these decisions are made with honesty, compassion, and respect. It is better to face difficult truths together than to suppress your needs or pretend that everything is fine. In some cases, couples may benefit from seeking support from a therapist or counselor who can help facilitate these conversations and provide tools for navigating complex emotions. It is also helpful to recognize that balancing individual and couple expectations is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. Life is full of transitions, career changes, moves, the arrival of children, the loss of loved ones, that can shift the balance of needs and priorities in a relationship. What worked in the early years of your partnership may need to be renegotiated as circumstances change. By approaching these transitions with flexibility and a spirit of collaboration, couples can weather the storms and emerge stronger on the other side. One of the most common pitfalls in this process is the tendency to compare your relationship to others. In the age of social media, it is easy to fall into the trap of believing that other couples have it all figured out, that they never argue, that their needs are perfectly aligned, that they are always in sync. The reality is that every relationship has its own unique dynamics, and what works for one couple may not work for another. The goal is not to achieve some idealized version of partnership, but to create a relationship that feels authentic and fulfilling for both partners. This requires a willingness to challenge assumptions and to let go of rigid ideas about what a relationship should look like. For some couples, spending lots of time together is essential. For others, maintaining a high degree of independence is key. Some partners thrive on frequent communication, while others prefer more space. The important thing is to find a balance that works for you and your partner, and to be willing to adjust as your needs and circumstances evolve. It is also important to recognize that balancing individual and couple expectations is not just about compromise, it is about integration. Rather than seeing your needs and your partner's needs as being in opposition, look for ways to weave them together into a richer, more complex tapestry. This might mean finding new activities to enjoy together, supporting each other's personal growth, or discovering shared values and dreams that you can pursue as a team. In the end, the most successful relationships are those in which both partners feel seen, heard, and valued, not just as part of a couple, but as unique individuals. This requires ongoing effort, patience, and a deep commitment to each other's well-being. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to check out therapyandrelaxation.com for more. See you tomorrow.